If you tend to procrastinate on your goals after a long day at work, you're not lazy. We're often quick to judge ourselves and label ourselves as lazy. And as a coach, I cannot help but ask you, what could be another possible explanation there? Is that really true? So in this video, I will share with you 3 reasons why you typically procrastinate on your to-do list instead of getting to do what you plan to do, like do a resume, apply for an MBA, or work out. Along the way, I will also share tips that will help you get things done when it's the most convenient time for you, instead of pushing yourself when you simply want to lay down on the couch and think about nothing. Okay, and to do this video, I decided to come to the gym because why not? Hopefully I'll not be too short breath, and hopefully you can hear me. Let's go! Number 1, you're mentally depleted after work. In other words, after spending a whole day at work, getting things done, and spending your brain power on solving problems, you're tired. So you may no longer have the brain capacity in the evening to think, what is something healthy that I could prepare for dinner? Or what do I want to do with my career? It's only natural that all you want to do is lie down and think about nothing. A possible solution to this is to get clear on the most urgent and most important to-dos on your mind at the moment that will move you towards your goals. Then figure out the time during the day where you have the most energy and focus. That could be in the early morning before getting to work, that could be during a coffee break, that could be during lunch break, or somewhere in the middle of the afternoon, or even very late at night. There is no perfect time to do this. In fact, people are very different. Some people are larks, some people are early birds, and some people are night owls. And that just means that they reach their peak brain power at different hours of the day, different parts of the day. Once you figured out what's the best time for you to get things done during the day, of course, work can get in the way. Make sure you isolate yourself. So let's say that the best time for you is to get things done really early in the morning before you get to the office or before you log on to your work computer. Then, if at the moment your top priority is to get clear on what career to transition to do that, informational interviews can be a great source of information. So in practice, every day before work, you can tell yourself, 30 minutes before work, I will sit down in front of my computer and I will send one message to someone from my network. So you can tell yourself that every morning, 45 minutes before your work starts, you will sit down at your computer and send a message to someone from your network and ask them to grab a coffee with you or to answer your questions about a possible transition in their industry. So if you send one message every morning to someone from your network, at the end of the week, that's 5 messages, and at the end of the month, that's 20 messages sent. Of course, the first time you do it might take you a little bit more time than expected, so on the first day, you may take a little bit more time to craft your personal message to someone from your network, but let's say after day 2, you feel much more comfortable. It's only a matter of copy-paste. So then you probably will be able to send 5 messages per day, which is 25 per week, which is 100 every month. And that could go a long way for your career search. Now, before I share the last tip, I've got a quick favor to ask you. If you enjoyed this video so far, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because it truly helps me and helps support the channel to show this information to as many achievers as possible. Okay, back to the video. Reason number 2. You know what you want to do, but you're scared to take action. Maybe your top goal is to apply for an MBA, to level up your skills, your knowledge, and ultimately your career. And so at the beginning of the week, you promise yourself that you will sit down after work, do research on the top MBAs of your country, and start sending out applications. But then you don't do it, and there seems to be a million reasons why you do something else. A possible explanation for that is you probably feel like you're not smart enough to get in, and so you may tell yourself, what's the point? Why should I do this right now? Another example is, let's say that you know that you want to go work out at the end of a long day. Maybe you're very clear about working out every day after work. But then, when you do get home, you start feeling what we commonly describe as FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. And so instead of going to the gym, you do something else. That just happens to us in general. But let's get down to the solutions right now. Something that can help with that is to face our fears. The more we resist them, the more they stay in our lives and they get in the way of us taking action on what we want the most. So I invite you to face and embrace your fears. What does that mean? Face means recognize and acknowledge what's getting in the way of you taking action. So if we go back to our example about the MBA, you may want to sit down with yourself and acknowledge the fact that you may be scared of not being good enough. You may be scared of not having the adequate skills to get in. And that's perfectly okay. The sooner you acknowledge it, the earlier you'll be able to take action against that. A good way to acknowledge your fears is to sit down and take the time to pay attention to your thoughts and to your emotions. Because as I always love to say in every content I do, they are precious. They really are here to give us precious information about us. You can journal, you can draw, you can record voice memos, you can talk to a therapist. No matter how you choose to sit down and acknowledge your feelings and your thoughts, the most important thing is that you do it. You do not run away from it. And you do understand the reason behind the actions you take that are stopping you from achieving what you want to achieve. Once you've faced your fear, accept it. And that means giving yourself a grace for experiencing that, not judging yourself. And what that means is accepting what's going on, giving yourself grace, not shaming, not blaming, or not judging yourself for what you're going through and what you're experiencing as much as possible. Not judging yourself is really important because when we do that, then we create space for perceiving things in a different manner and taking different actions. So if we go back to our example of not applying for an MBA after work, so once you acknowledge that what's getting in the way of you applying to your MBA is that you feel the fear of not being good enough, then you can ask yourself, okay, now that I know that, what actions can I take to feel more confident? Should I take a minute to go over my past accomplishments? Should I take a little bit more time to study? Should I contact a few people that have done an MBA and ask them to share their experience and ask them about how they felt through the process as well, so that I don't feel alone? You know, I have a story about that. A few years ago, I used to order takeaway every single day. I knew that something was off. Like, I couldn't keep realistically doing that every day. That was not responsible financially. And so I labeled myself as bratty, you know, like a diva, like lazy, like you don't want to cook. And it's only when I took the time to analyze what was going on that I understood that the reason, you know, behind that pattern, behind that behavior was that I wasn't too excited about the things that I cooked at home. I was craving more color in my plate, more spices, more diversity. And so it's only when I understood that I could take different actions. So you see, when I labeled myself as lazy, essentially, I felt really bad, and so I ate more, so I ordered out more. But the minute I took a step back to understand that habit of ordering out was because I was craving more spice and more life, basically, in my plate, that's when I could give myself grace, be nicer and kinder to myself, and make different choices. And so it has definitely improved. I haven't ordered out in a while. Explanation number 3, you do not know what to do or where to even start. Perhaps your goal is to change careers or to learn how to better manage your emotions or infuse a bit more balance into your day-to-day life. And the whole process feels intimidating and overwhelming. Perhaps you've tried reading tons of self-help books before and, you know, watched tons of video content online, but all of the information just seem overwhelming and too much to process right now. We're back to our first point of feeling mentally depleted and overwhelmed, right? And you know what? It's totally normal that you don't know where to begin or where to start, because the reality is you spend 10 plus hours at the office or working from home focused on specific topics, right? In finance, consulting, or whatever it is you're doing. You can't be everywhere and you cannot know everything. So it's normal to not know where to start on how to process all that information. When I first decided to quit finance and switch to coaching, I had zero clue of how I would do that. I had to take some time out and invest in myself, invest in coaching, and ask for help to figure everything out one step at a time. If you don't want to do this alone and need professional assistance, make sure you click the link down below to book a complimentary session with me. In it, we'll discuss personalized insights on what the next steps are for you in your career and what a healthier, more balanced lifestyle looks like for you. Okay, last mile. If you often tell yourself that you're lazy and you really struggle to get things done after work, please do not think that something is wrong with you. Don't blame yourself. It's absolutely normal sometimes to slack back. As I said in this video, there are reasons why this is happening, and your job, if you want to grow and self-develop, is to understand what are those reasons. Why is it that you're not taking the action that you wanted to take? Give yourself grace for your process. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to support the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.